So I have an exercise for both the NT spouse and the ASD spouse. And this assignment, and it would be good if you could journal or write a paragraph or two about this, would be to look at what's going on underneath the arguments. So we argue with one another because we are angry with what's going on. We feel that there's some unfairness, that some things are just not right. We want to fix it. And so we get angry. Both the NT and the ASD individual get angry. So that's what's underneath the argument is anger. But what's underneath the anger is fear. And that's what I would like for you to look at and journal. So the question then becomes, when you argue with your spouse, what is the fear that's motivating that argument? Is it fear of not getting your needs met? Fear of loss? Fear of being chastised, ridiculed, criticized, put down, disrespected, and so on? So we don't argue for no good reason. You spend a lot of time and energy arguing. In fact, if you've had a knockdown, drag-out argument that has lasted for an hour or more, you may have realized that you're exhausted because it does burn up a lot of energy. And so if you could look at the fear that's motivating these arguments, that's motivating the anger, then the next step then would be, okay, what can I do to address the fear? Because my arguing isn't addressing my fear one bit. It's actually increasing my anger because we never get anything resolved, which in turn is increasing my fear, which means the next time we argue about the same damn thing, it's even going to be more intense than the previous time. So that's the assignment, guys and ladies. I want you to begin the process of debriefing or going back and investigating your arguments in retrospect after they have already happened. You wouldn't necessarily have to do this as a couple. It would be probably better to do it individually. And go back and replay that argument that happened earlier today or yesterday or last week and do a little investigation. Examine, why was I so invested in defending myself or arguing or pouring out all of these angry words that I threw at the other person? What was the fear motivating that? So the next part of the assignment would be then, when you have your list of fears, go back and look at, what can I do to get these fears addressed? We'll use the example that may be consistent with what some NT wives experience. We'll go with the fear of not getting my emotional needs met. So the next time you would have the propensity to argue and fight and get angry, instead maybe you could actually have a conversation rather than an argument about how I can get my emotional needs met. So you'd want to brainstorm some ideas about that, and then you could present that in a calm manner to your spouse. Let's use an example for the man who has autism spectrum disorder, and maybe one of his fears is being criticized. So now you would need to brainstorm some ways that you could converse with your NT wife such that her words didn't download as criticism in your brain. So the hope then is that you could actually have a conversation rather than an argument and give your NT wife some ideas on how she can express herself such that you don't view that as put downs, criticism, her being parental, exaggeratory, and so on. So this is not a magic bullet, but it's certainly the beginning of looking at the core issue, which is your fears. If you want more details on how to do this and go deeper into this exercise, then by all means, email me and we can elaborate and broaden this exercise in a more thorough manner and do a deeper investigation into what's going on underneath the anger.